I believe we have the perfect topic right now to decode more about influencers. And I'll tell you all the topic for the moment. It's the evolving role of influencers in brand storytelling and customer engagement. This session is going to be chaired by Srishti Nadhani, content creator and creative consultant. Give it up for Srishti, please, ladies and gentlemen, as she comes over here on stage to moderate this panel. Can I please have Srishti over here on stage to moderate this panel? Give it up for her, please, ladies and gentlemen. Also, Sitali. ताली मुझे वहाँ से सुनाई दे रहा है, लेकिन वहाँ से नहीं सुनाई दे रहा है. Can we have the Mexican wave going here once again, please? All of you in the house. Over there, people at the back. This is going to be a really fascinating session. Thank you so much, Srishti. She'll be joined on stage by Dr. Megha Dasgupta, who's a doctor and content creator. Give it up for Dr. Megha Dasgupta as well, please, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Megha, can I please have you over here on stage? Do we have all? Give it up for Dr. Megha Dasgupta as well, please, ladies and gentlemen. Multitasker in the true sense of the term. We also have Niranjan Mondal, love to say, who's a content creator. Give it up for Niranjan as well, please, ladies and gentlemen, as he comes over here on stage. Niranjan ke liye zor se taaliyan, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I've been told that he's not here, so quickly moving on to my favorite RJ from Kolkata. Give it up. Highest amount of intensity and appreciation for RJ Praveen, who's a very famous RJ and content creator. Bajaiye taali for Mr. RJ Praveen, ladies and gentlemen. We have a common bro code as well. We have the same teacher from college. I'll be calling Saira Shah Halim, who's an activist, educator, and politician. Give it up for Saira as well, please, ladies and gentlemen, as she comes over here on stage to take it forward. Or Zor Sitali, as we move forward. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to appreciate the presence of Sneha Singh Upadhyay, Chef Content Creator, F&B Consultant from Sneha Singh Consultancy. Can we please have Sneha Singh Upadhyay over here? I believe she's also not here. Okay, I've been told she's not here. Can we quickly move on to Sumit Agarwal, who's Associate, Great Place to Work, Institute of India. Do we have Sumit Agarwal over here? Do we have Oh yes, we have. Ladies and gentlemen, the final panel discussion of the day. Please give it up. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us over here. Thank you. Too much of experience, too much of value to be added, too much of insights to be shared. And I'm pretty sure that the rich value of experience that they all carry, they're going to be enlightening all of us in the best way possible. Give it up for the final panel discussion of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Zor se taali as I hand it over to them. Zor se taali ka zor se taali synonymous nahi hua. Zor se taali, please. I repeat, zor se taali, all of you, for the final panel discussion of the day. Thank you so much.
Hi, very good evening. I'm Srishti. Of course, Srishti has introduced all of us. I'm super excited to be actually flanked by such a distinguished panel right here. So I'm going to keep this short, fun, and definitely very insightful because, of course, all of us here to take back some knowledge. So just going to discuss the structure of this panel a little. I mean, ताकि लगे मैंने कुछ effort डाला इसमें. So I'm going to keep it fun and casual. Don't worry, we're not going to make it very serious. And what our plan is, the first question will be open to all the panelists because I'd love to hear their views on all of those questions. The second one is a personalized, very tailored question pertaining to each of your domain and area of expertise. And I'll wrap up with a question which is basically open for anyone to jump in and kind of answer. So talking about the evolving role of influencers in storytelling and customer engagement, I think I would like to talk a little bit about influencers and how things have changed. So I've been into the industry for over 10 years now. And let's say around 8 या 9 साल पहले मैं लोगों को बोलती मैं I'm an influencer. People would just be like, अच्छा तो आप कपड़े पहन के फोटो खिंचाते हो. And now when I tell people I'm an influencer, people are like, wow, that takes a hell lot of effort. So that's exactly the shift that has actually taken place in the 1 decade that I've been into this. So with that, I will move on to the first question, which is definitely open to all. And the first question that I have for everyone here is, how do you perceive the current state of the influencer landscape? And what notable shifts have you observed in the recent years? So Saira, why don't we start with you?
So, good evening, Srishti. Good evening, CMOs, Charcha, Adgully. Thank you so much for having me over. I've just taken a flight in from from Dehradun. I've just come in. Firstly, I would not like to call myself an influencer, but as you know, what was being discussed in the previous discussion, that anybody who has the power to influence people is an influencer. And you don't necessarily need to sell a brand. You can be a thought leader in your own right. You can sell thoughts. So yes, I don't sell brands. I don't sell clothes. I don't sell perfumes. But I like to believe I sell ideas. So I think that is wherein my role comes in as an influencer. I've been in the space of activism for the last 10, 11 years. I've been in active politics. I've contested 2 elections in the last 2 years. I stood from Paliganj by poll where I defeated the Bharatiya Janata Party and the Congress 2 years ago. I recently contested a very high-pitched Lok Sabha election, and I was the India Alliance candidate from Kolkata South. So I'd like to just say that my presence in the digital media, on the national media, and on social media, it has created a considerable fan following, if I may say, and people, in a way, I understand, look up to me as in if I put a tweet out there, if I put an opinion out there, I know it has the power to resonate with the youth, because I work with the youth. Now, the talk is about influencers and how we can use digital technology to expand that space. So I'd like to just share my experience on how I've used digital technology in campaigning. Well, as you know that I'm from the left front, and we virtually carried out a political campaign with zero budget. But if you look at our reels, if you look at our social media presence, even the big political honchos cannot match up with the virtual space that we captured. That is because of the volunteers. We had everybody manning the campaigns, right from handheld cameras to drones, name it all. So the reels that we used in the campaign had a far-reaching effect, because I noticed that because of my candidature, I had about 39,000 followers before my Lok Sabha, and now it's almost 57, 58,000 followers. So, so digital media has that power, that you can gain organic followers, say about 20, 25,000 followers within a month, or, it depends on what your outreach program is. So I think I won't again say influencer, because I'm not selling brands, I'm selling ideas. Well, as a person, as a thought leader, as a political leader, I have used social media, digital technology to help. I'm there, my presence is there. I write columns for India Today, I write columns for other portals. I'm there on national media every day on 3-4 different channels. I have contested 2 high-pitch elections. So I don't think that there's any space that's being left out, because I've been participating in literary festivals, launch authors and books as well. So I think as young people, or say younger people, whatever we write or whatever we post has a resonance with the people there. And this is something that even stalwarts in politics or stalwarts in activism, sometimes they look over that. Because they feel that we have this particular symbol and people are going to vote for the party. And, because generally people will say, okay, we're going to vote for Modi, but they do not know who the candidate from the constituency is. Or they'll say, we're going to vote for Mamta, but they don't know who the local MLA or the local MP is. So I think as youth leaders or as political leaders or thought leaders, it's very important to have a digital presence. And I think that is what worked for me in the previous campaign. Because I managed to increase the left vote share from 5% to more than 30% within a year. And this is because of my digital presence over the years. This is because of the work that I've done. So I feel, yes, we all can play a huge role in not just talking about the last pizza that we ate. And it's all fine to talk about the last pizza or the hotel or the restaurant that you visited. But if we all can go that extra mile and say that today I participated in this blood donation camp. Today I am, active, or I am, giving my support to the LGBTQIA community, or I am, involved in an inclusion or in a diversity group. I think that will have a far-reaching consequence or far-reaching impact than just selling brands and perfumes and clothes. And do not misunderstand that. I do not look down upon people who are selling brands or clothes or designer clothes. I mean, go ahead and do that. But if you have that power, if you have that presence, if you have that following, if you have more than 30, 40,000, 50,000 followers, why can't you influence people to donate blood or to have a political opinion, whichever side of the fence it is? And tell them that you have the power to vote, you have the power to change, the shape of the country, you have the power to safeguard the democracy. So I think more and more people need to talk about societal impacts. I have not heard any politician talking about climate change. I was in Missouri in the morning and I took a flight in. The moment I landed in Calcutta, like about 2 hours ago, I could see, myself melting. It was like a furnace. And I think we need to address issues like climate change and also talk about diversity, talk about inclusivity, talk about how we all can do our bit in bringing in societal change. And I think digital media offers each of us a huge potential.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Saira. So whatever you just mentioned, you clearly an influencer in every sense of the word, clearly an influencer who influences ideas and positive change. With that, Sumit, I would love to hear your views on what you think is the current influencer landscape like, and what shifts have you personally noticed in the last few years?
Good evening, Kolkata. No sound. Good evening, Kolkata. Good evening. Better. This is the sound of City of Joy. I think I'll just show you what is influencing rather than just narrating a story. Everybody, please stand up. Please stand up. Please stand up. Clap your hand with one finger. Not happening. 2 fingers. Still not happening. 3 fingers. 4 fingers. 5 fingers. Now I want you to give a high five to the person next to you. Give a high five to the person next to you. So, please take your seat. What happens is when you follow an influencer, that influencer can drive you to take certain actions. Like I just made you clap. Unless it is driven by actions, that influencer is just a digital influencer. Speaking about digital domains, now AI-generated robots and bots are also becoming influencers. That means you don't even need to be a living thing to become an influencer. But what you need to have is certain ideas, certain thoughts, and certain beliefs that you have and make a cult around it, right? And when I say a cult, I don't mean any wrong sort of sense, but I mean that you have to have deep-rooted beliefs to have that same sort of belonging, form a tribe, if you will, right? And that is the power of influence. The power of influence can make you change governments. The power of influence can make you change companies to take CSR initiatives. The power of influence can make you change laws of a country. That is the power of influence. And that, dear ladies and gentlemen, we must take it very carefully. Because every time I say Simon says do this, and you do it without even thinking, then we are living in a very dangerous precedent. You must learn to think, act, and then follow. Right? That's the power of India.
Thank you so much, Sumit. So, to sum that up, basically an influencer is only an influencer when they're able to drive and initiate change. Otherwise, they're just another person on social media, right? Lovely. Over to you, Arjun.
So, I've been working with radio for the past 19 years. So, radio में हमें सिखाया गया है to keep it crisp, short, to the point. So, I'm not going to take much of anyone's time here. जब हम बात करते हैं creators की, few years back, clients जो हैं वो influencers के पास में आते थे. And they used to say that, I want to market this product. This is a certain X amount that I'm paying you. You need to make a brand video for me. But if you look at the ecosystem right now, it is happening otherwise as well. We are standing at that point where influencers are paying money to make a brand out of themselves. So if I give you a very short example, it is the Cannes Film Festival. I'm sure that all of you have seen that news all over the social media that a lot of influencers pay money to go to Cannes Film Festival. So in today's world, even the influencers need marketing for themselves, which is not bad. And the way the ecosystem is changing, the way the client used to approach us for brand deals 3 years, 4 years back, and what is happening right now is completely different. Earlier they used to approach us that, we want a viral video. But right now the dynamics have changed. They approach us with what is the ROI? What is the engagement? What is the age demographic that is following you? From which city you have more followers? Alright? Link in bio. We want you to put link in bio for 3 or 4 days. So these are the terms that we all are learning every day. So even the clients and the agencies, they are also learning these things every day. So that is how the things are changing, and I think it is very, very important for the growth of the industry that we all grow together. So I would like to say a big thank you to all the clients, those who approach us for brand deals, and we believe in clean and sustainable comedy, which is very, very difficult. It is actually very, very difficult to come up with clean comedy ideas on a daily basis. So we are trying very, very hard to entertain people, and we'll continue doing so.
Thanks so much. I'm pretty sure comedy comes to you very naturally. I'm very sure about that. I've seen your social media. But I completely agree with the fact that marketing yourself as an influencer is not bad at all. Of course, the whole Cannes event sparked a lot of controversy as well. But yeah, at the end, we did get a lot of leverage out of it, so absolutely not bad a move at all. On that note, over to Megha.
So I feel that the difference between a content creator and being an influencer is not a very commonly talked discussion right here. So I feel a content creator is somebody who creates content for themselves and also to kind of influence the people who are watching it, and then if the audience is consuming the content well, maybe then you can call that person a notable influencer. This is point number one, and nowadays I feel brands also know what they want from influencers, and for influencers also they need to know that what kind of brands really match their niche. So that's very important. So for example, if somebody is starting out as a content creator, they will take up a lot of brands, but to kind of understand what really their audience is liking really comes after posting multiple batches of content. And I think at that point of time, when they know that okay, fine, this kind of content is working out for me, then they know, okay, this is my niche, and maybe I could take up more projects on these areas. And when it comes to influencing, I feel a person can definitely talk about multiple things, but it's always better to talk about one specific thing that you're good at, and once you have a larger audience who's consuming your content, I feel you can talk about social causes like you mentioned, which is great, I feel, because that would definitely encourage other people to take part and take active part in those things. But I feel every influencer has their own niche, and I think they should maintain it to kind of engage their own audience. That's all.
Thank you so much. So yeah, I completely agree with you, Megha, that influencing or content creation is a lot of trial and error before we actually close in on our niche. And I think Megha's journey is something that I've known personally and watched firsthand. So I completely know what she's talking about. We're going to talk about it more in the next question for sure. But yeah, I think we're also discussing the fact that the word influencer is a word we're still not comfortable with. All in all, I think we create content. If someone gets influenced, that's amazing, definitely. But yeah, I feel you when you say that I do not like the use of the word influencer. Okay, moving on to the tailored questions now. Just a second. I know I didn't want it to be scripted, but I do have to cover all my bases in terms of the talking points that have been given to me by the team. Okay, so Arjun Praveen, obviously, if you had to have a middle name, that would definitely be humor. So I want to understand clearly, obviously, have a lot of large following, a great, strong connect with the audience as an RJ, and how do you kind of translate that trust, and when you're doing some brand advocacy or collaborations, how do you maintain that trust and that genuinity, and what are the strategies you kind of use to foster a sense of community and still be sort of honest with them?
Saying they catch them young. So I think my story is something like that because I started radio at a very, very young age, and radio helped me to understand what kind of content should go on air, what you need to say and what you need not say on radio. So there were certain do's and don'ts जो हम radio पर follow किया करते थे, and the same thing is applied when we are creating content on social media, because I know my audience. It's very, very important for you to know your audience. What is your PG? So मेरे case में my PG is a 4-year-old kid to someone who's an 80-year-old gentleman or a lady. So when we are creating content, we are creating content in such a way that everyone can see at home. That has actually helped us in a lot many ways because I'll tell you this story of a brand who went through all our social media posts. They saw all our social media posts just to figure out one thing that we have done wrong on social media, one controversy that we have on our name. Somewhere we were talking about religion, or maybe politics, or maybe criticizing someone, or maybe bashing someone left, right, and center. Whatever comedy we do amongst ourselves, like we friends, me or Sudha, Priyanka, our boss. So we do comedy amongst us, not harming anyone else. So when this brand went through all our posts, they could not figure out one post that they can pinpoint and say that this is where you were wrong. And that is the result. When this company did this entire research, they said that he's the guy with whom we'll collaborate. And we landed up working with Shah Rukh Khan one-on-one. So when I speak about clean comedy, storytelling, humor, knowing your audience, so I know my audience is from 4 years to 80 years old. So I have to create content in such a way that a family person can sit and watch in their house, in their own comfort zone, without feeling or without thinking twice that अगर ये वीडियो चलाया इसमें अगर ऐसी कुछ बात आ गई तो मैं कैसे अपने बच्चे को या किसके सामने क्या मुंह दिखाऊंगा. So we create content in such a way that everyone can watch, and I think that sensibility prevails while we were working for radio and while now we are working for social media. So the same thing applies to both the industries.
Lovely, thank you so much. So remember guys, do not diss anyone. Any jokes that should be amongst your friends, not on social media against someone who might kind of create a backlash. Okay, so Saya, of course, the question that I planned for you, a little bit of it has already been covered in the introduction. So the one thing I would definitely want to ask you is that your recent Lok Sabha campaign definitely garnered a lot of national attention. Why don't you give us a bit of an insider view on it as to how that worked?
So, Srishti, thank you. See, firstly, beyond the party, I think what really worked is your personal candidature. Because in my last election, people said we came and voted for you and not for your party. So I took it as a compliment that if I could manage to increase the vote share, considering that it's not really its best time. The left is not saying its best time, but if I could manage to increase the vote share on the dint of my hard work, on my personal candidature, and I was not even a member of any political party when I stood for the election. So I think what really helped Srishti was my civil society phase, my contribution. I've been in corporate booths for 17 years, and then I transitioned into activism, been in active politics without contesting elections for 10 years. So when I've been politically active, it's not that I've been green on all along. Electorally, yes. So I think that is what resonated with people, because at the end of the day, we want to see an educated leader who has conviction in her ideas, his or her ideas, and someone who is honest. I think because we've seen goons in political parties, we've seen gundaism, we've seen toxicity happening where somebody is trolling the other person. So I think people are a little jaded of that kind of politics, and people need to get a fresh perspective. So I think that kind of worked, and I hope I'm luckier next time.
Thank you so much. And I do remember meeting you for the very first time in my life during a brand collaboration, and look at how world or life comes a full circle, and here we are discussing the role of influencers. Alright. So now over to Sumit. So about Sumit, this is not the first time I'm actually hearing him, and trust me, whenever Sumit talks, he has this knack for actually knocking a lot of sense into your head and making your tummies hurt because he's so funny and so witty. But today I have a challenge for you because I have a pretty serious question for you, but I'm sure you're going to make this really funny and really entertaining while at the same time being very informative. So here goes the question. So from the perspective of talent acquisition and management, how can brands foster collaboration and teamwork within influencer marketing campaigns? And what role do you see for specialized skills and support teams in maximizing the impact of influencer partnerships? Wow, that was hardcore, but Sumit, yeah, you can make it easier for us to understand.
Can you all please stand up again? आपसे बहुत मेहनत करवाना है अभी. Can you all please stand up? Please. Everybody expects कि influencer marketing मतलब एक post करेंगे and leads and everything is going to come flooding, right? एक post में पूरा viral हो जाएगा. Get a person next to you, turn around to the person next to you, shake the hand of the person next to you. Now tell them to give you business or give you a job. Tell them give me a job. Tell them I want a job from you. नहीं होगा ना? नहीं होगा ना? So take your thing. Influencer marketing has to be long term. It's a marriage, not a right from Tinder, right? It has to be a long-term partnership. Short-term partnership नहीं चलेगा. So to answer your question, when you look at an influencer, be it talent acquisition, be it influencers, be it awareness, be it campaigns, you have to have a long-term relationship with whoever you are engaging. You can't just expect कि प्रवीण आज post करेगा and tomorrow everybody will break your gates to buy your products. This is not going to happen, right? Everybody tells me, आप एक post कर दीजिएगा, सुमित जी आपका तो LinkedIn पे इतना followers है, कल से मेरा product बिकना चालू हो जाएगा. I'm like, ऐसा अगर होता तो मैं खुद अपना product design नहीं कर लेता. So you have to have that long-term thought process. Even if you are looking for good talent, like, you have to have that process that the talent has to stick with you for a very long term. Even if it's a brand which is active on social media, the HRs who are active on social media, the talent acquisition partners who are active on social media, helps you attract and retain talent. Retaining talent is important because Gen Z's का क्या है? आज है, कल भाग जाएंगे, नहीं रहना है उनको. आपने बोला कि तुम आज 10 बजे क्यों ऑफिस आए? They told you, sir, सो गए थे. And then you say, why are you so late? ये सब नहीं चलेगा. And then the person goes and joins your competitor. You have to have that long-term mentoring mentality with influencers, as well as if you're a talent acquisition manager, you have to have that mentorship with your talent as well, so that everything goes on long term. Because क्या होता है, brands come and tell, we want one post. That's it. We want one post. होना क्या है नहीं है, वो बाद में देखा जाएगा. ROI 40% हो जाएगा अपने आप. कैसे होगा वो उनको भी पता नहीं, मुझे भी पता नहीं. So you have to have that faith that when you are hiring somebody, that treat that influencer like a person who you are hiring for long term. It's a relationship. And that will take you long places. थोड़ा धैर्य रखिए influencers के साथ.
I just want to add one more point here, just one point. A lot of time it happens that the clients are like, okay, we want 6 views, so you put in money and you buy views, or we want 5 million views. Please don't do that, right? Whatever comes naturally, organically, please stick to that. Because if you have to put money to make your video work, then it's better that you don't pay the influencer, you do a video for yourself, you put in money, you put in the budget, you boost your post and you make it viral. Why do you need an influencer? So let's believe in the organic reach. A lot of time we lose out on a lot of business only because we say a no to the client that we are not going to boost our post. We will put in our 110% effort to make your video work. Let's believe. So you have to have that faith on the influencer, and let's forget the boosting part. Thank you.
Just to add to what Praveen said, 66% of Twitter followers are fake, according to research. अगर आपको dopamine rush चाहिए, तब fake followers आप ले लो. मगर if you get so involved in the numbers, you will not be able to find true value. If you are looking at value, you have to have long-term engagement.
Thank you so much, Sumit. And really to sum up what Sumit said, guys, please remember, say no to flings. And that holds good for both brands as well as influencers, because I think long-term relation is something that we all buy. But I'm sure, Megha, you would agree as well as a content creator. I'm sure there have been brands that we started working with back in the day when we started, and we still work with them because we've invested in that connection with them, right? So on that note, by the way, Megha, because I've known her for years, but for everybody else, she's Dr. Megha, and it takes 2 weeks to break away from a habit, so yeah, it's going to take some time. But yes, since you have a background of a doctor and also you're a content creator, so how do you think your unique background contributes to your storytelling approach, and how can brands kind of leverage your expertise effectively?
So I think one thing that is very common between both the professions is they are very close apart. So as a doctor, we need to know the history of the patient. And as a content creator, we need to know the history of the brand, the story behind the brand before we take up any sort of campaigns. So for example, my basic niche is to kind of uplift the homegrown brands rather than working with bigger brands, because for me, I feel with whatever audience I have right now, if those homegrown brands get a leverage through social media and they can uplift their revenue streams through that, I think that's a great business opportunity for them, and it actually helps other brands to kind of start off from scratch, because I think I've actually started collaborating with smaller brands who have just started out from their home maybe, and they do not know how to kind of leverage their whatever products they were selling through content. So I think that's where I came in and started making content on them to kind of encourage the other viewers that okay, this exists. And I think that's how it acts as a chain, and it encourages other people to kind of open and do more things with their brand and see bigger prospects.
Lovely. I think it's always so important to ask a brand questions before you honestly get into a collaboration with them, because I think you are narrating a story about them, so it's always very important to ask them questions to understand the brand better. On that note, I'm guessing we have to close this. So, do we have time to take any questions from the audience? Okay, so I'm going to leave the floor open to the audience for questions.
suggest, like I should keep on, like I don't advertise or I'm not into, you know, some promotions. So what is your take on it? Like I should keep on doing it, and like what can be the way ahead? Anyone can answer.
Sure. Who would like to take this question?
Yeah, sure. So I feel, hi. Yeah, hi. So I feel that, you know, if you are a brand of yourself, not a content creator like a brand, and you want to go ahead and collaborate with an influencer or a content creator, I think the first basic standard thing that you should check is if that influencer also matches the content line that you're talking about. It should not be the exact content lines made, but at least it should have, the creator should have certain aspects which are related to your content. So I think that would be the first thing if you're looking out to market your brand with an influencer. That is my.
कविता जी मैं कहूँगा आप करते जाओ, ठीक है ना? 30 दिन में एक वीडियो आपका वायरल होगा और उसके बाद में लाइन लग जाएगी। हाँ, I know आप लोगों को एजुकेट करने के लिए, लोगों को बताने के लिए कर रहे हो, ठीक है ना? But what's the harm if you have a larger set of audience? If you go viral, you will have a larger set of audience, larger number of people are listening to you and watching your videos. So just keep doing it. You have to be consistent with it. It can't be that, you know, कि अच्छा आज एक वीडियो कर लिया, उसके बाद में चलो ठीक है 6 दिन के बाद में एक वीडियो करेंगे, नहीं. You have to be very consistent with it. That's all I would say. Thank you. Rana sir, you had a question.
I'm really sorry about that.
I'm really sorry, but we'll take it offline.
Sure, we can do that. So on that note, we come to the end of the session. This was a very insightful session. Honestly, I think I'm going to employ some tips and tricks that I've learned today into my content creation as well. And definitely one thing we've understood is that influencers are clearly like a cornerstone when it comes to brands and their marketing strategies for sure. And going forward, definitely the brands need influencers and vice versa to really maximize the potential and reach their best heights for sure. On that note, thank you so much to the distinguished panel for taking time out and actually being a part of this session. And yes, over to you, Shubhaji. Thank you so much.